bum, 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 bum. Let's dance. And if you say run, I'll run to you. Dee-dee-dee. Howdy and good morning. Good morning from the secret grotto to you. How am I today? Why, I'm doing just fine. How are you today? It's a brand new year. Does it feel any different? It doesn't really feel much different to me. You hear the ravens? Having a raven moment? Having a little raven meeting here. Hear it?
Yeah.
Thank you, baby. You hear this? Is this a meltdown? Are these ravens having a meltdown right now? When was the Boogie Gauntlet going to be uploaded for members? 5 days. Yeah, if you go to the when the strike falls off in 5 days, we'll obviously put it up for everybody. But I think if you go to the community post, we didn't change anything. So if you click on the latest community post, the link at the bottom of it, it'll take you straight to the video still. So as a member, you can still watch it by clicking on the link in the latest community post. And it'll take you to the VOD. And then we will upload the full version in 5 days when we can.
I mean, that is the full version, basically.
Yeah.
Because the first hour is public to everyone, so.
Yeah. I honestly think, I was thinking about it a little bit last night as I was winding down. I think it might be our greatest gauntlet ever.
Yeah.
I think it might be the peak gauntlet. Dew dipping happened. I laughed harder than I've laughed in a long time at this gauntlet. We were all fucking like into it, ripping on Boogie. It was just a good gauntlet. It was a really good gauntlet. It had the energy of a best gauntlet. Paul, you used to be ginger, now you look blonde. That's just my hair. That's the way that my hair like works in the sun. So depending on whether it's in direct or indirect sunlight, my hair will look blonde, red, brown. I just have shapeshifter hair.
Like, our hair looked the same color when I still had, like, leftover bleach in my hair.
A little bit, yeah.
But now it's all completely grown out.
Yeah,
so
now
my hair's way darker than yours.
Yeah. Looking forward to finishing it later. Oh yeah, if you didn't get to finish it, Otello, you need to go back and watch, because it just got funnier the more insane we got, the more insanely committed that we got to finishing out, it just got worse and worse. It was great. You look less stressed out. His hair's like a mood ring. It really isn't. It really is just like indicative of how much sun I've gotten in my hair and how much sun is in the sky. Like right now, you have to understand, like, we're sitting in very diffused sunlight, right? The sun is lighting everything, but through a thick layer of clouds and through the canopy of the cedar forest I live in. And all of that is going to change the nature of how the light hits my hair. And that changes, like, the overall color of my hair. You can see way more red in my hair if I'm in direct sunlight. So if I was standing in direct sunlight, you'd be like, whoa, there's the ginger. Because it just, like, the highlights or whatever in there come out in the sun. It's like Harry Potter. Yeah, I'm Nymphadora, dude. Don't call me Nymphadora. I wish I was Nymphadora. That'd be cool. I'd go purple, pink, blonde, blue. Ugh. No, not Nymphadora, you're Hagrid. I never heard that one before. That's the first time I've heard that one. Oh man, somebody give this guy the crown, bro. He's the smart guy. He came up with a funny, ha.
I don't think you're gonna escape the Hagrid for at least another 20 years.
I don't think I'll ever escape it.
Yeah, you think it's just too ingrained in the culture now?
Oh yeah. It's like pretty much the only book series that about 90% of America can quote. So yeah, I'll be Hagrid for the rest of my life.
You think people are passing it down to their kids still?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Although I will tell you this, one of the things that I noticed when I went to Orlando, Universal Studios Orlando, and I went to the Diagon Alley thing there, it was probably like 2-to-1 adults to kids.
Yeah.
Like, most of the people walking around looked like they were in their 30s wearing wizard robes and stuff. So maybe
it might get grown out.
Slowly but surely people might start thinking it's lame and old. But for now, especially like the people that I'm going to be dealing with, people that are in their 20s, 30s, like all of them, fucking, it's going to be forever. And they're going to age up with me. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely has that timeless quality because they, like, take away all their technology in the school.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, it's a well-designed little universe. It's going to be around for a long time. USA breakup or stay one country. I'm down for the breakup, honestly. I think a little balkanization would help stir things up a little bit.
Or taking more.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
Either breaking up or starting to steal.
Yeah, steal more. Let's take some more territory.
Do you think we're on the verge of just being too big for our system of government to work? Do you think the size is...
What do you mean, like just the population?
Yeah, and just the distribution of the population. Like,
it's one of the downfalls. It's such a widespread country that we've lost the, like, bonds of country, and everybody's like arguing from a local perspective. I would love the U.S. to break up and the government to facilitate the citizens' move to their desired regions. Yeah, I doubt they'd do that, but yeah, I think that, like, you know, there could be an argument for like Pacifica being the West Coast states. And then Centralia being like the central states.
They're not going to want to be their own country with no ocean access.
What the central?
Yeah.
Who? I don't want them. I don't want them. We don't want them on the west. They're gonna have to fucking skank their way into the East Coast somewhere because, dude, the fucking middle American mindset is just poison. So, like, Pacific would be it'd be dragged down if we had fucking Kansas and Montana and all that shit. It's like the truth of the matter is like you've become so toxic and stupid and shitty and backwards that if there were a national breakup, the argument wouldn't be about who gets you. It would be about who has to have you. It's like you middle fucking flyover states with all your weirdness and shit. Nobody wants you. And you're not going to do well as a landlocked country. So you're going to have to fucking suck up to somebody, but I don't think Pacifica wants you. It's not just lack of oceans, it's lack of having to deal with the things that people that live on the coasts deal with. Central America is still like leave it to beaver small town mentality shit. And they bring that tiny little lacking in scope mentality to everything that they do. And they want the world to conform to the cornfields of Kansas and the fucking burnt out factory towns of Iowa. You know what I mean? Like there are fucking 100 people for every one person in Kansas on the West Coast,
the way it
at
works,
least.
Like they're all starting with appealing to Iowa.
Yeah.
I guess it was South Carolina this time because the Democrats shuffled it up, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. I think all primaries should just be on the same goddamn day.
Yeah.
The staggered primary shit is retarded.
Yes.
There's so much money that's literally just flushed down the toilet.
Yes. Paul, if you're not a pro-war guy, I'm interested in what your thoughts on how the world would become a global civilization. I mean, just through entropy. Like, the world is, just in the years that I've been alive, globalization has exploded. We went from living in a truly multipolar society to a unipolar society in just the 40 years plus that I've been alive. And so I think that globalization and homogenization across the globe is happening right now. Right? It doesn't need necessarily war and famine and disease and disaster in order to justify it. I think it happens culturally first.
Well, like you see what happened to Europe, the European Union. That's essentially making it a giant singular entity.
Giving it the ability to negotiate as a singular multi-state entity like the United States. And of course, all under the umbrella of protection and influence from the United States. Mm-hmm. You look at the cultural kind of revolution that's going on where, people all over the planet are watching American movies and eating American food and wearing American clothing and using American catchphrases. This is how globalization works. It's not something that happens overnight. It doesn't necessarily require some Batman villain type of leader to rise up and take things via war. Like the expansiveness of American influence has reached like a tipping point where, like it's becoming indistinguishable culturally between different places.
There's a ton of English speakers all over.
Mm-hmm. I think the rise of China and BRICS will help or hinder globalization. Well, the thing is like if you look at China in particular, right? China basically was like, when I was born, China was struggling. China was still a rural agrarian country that was having trouble feeding its billions. And then sometime in the late 80s, early 90s, China started to adopt the American way of doing business, adopt Western business practices, and didn't just adopt them, but fully embraced Western business. And now China is, while they're competing for regional influence, China is basically a subsidiary of the United States in terms of what it turns out, its manufacturing base, and its IP base. So it's just another example of globalization. Just in my lifetime, a rural agrarian country that was basically starving to death has become arguably the world's most dynamic and fast growing economy, right? All because they adopt Western culture, Western cultural traditions, Western business tradition, right? Seems cold there. I live in the forest, and it's winter. I don't know what you want me to do. Can't even lie. Asian girls look good as fuck. I like girls. I like Korean girls. I like girls, 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 girls. I like girls. I like Korean girls.
I don't know how many people will even get that.
Not many.
Fans of Anthony Fantano.
Yeah. Any Alice Longview Gao fans?
It's a poppin' song. You should give it a shot if you haven't heard it.
Her songs are fucking kick ass. I largely agree with you, Paul, but I'm just not sure how climate change or the collapse of growth in the economy triggering collapse of capitalism suddenly might impact this globalization trend. I think the collapse that you're hoping for isn't coming anytime soon. It may come way down the line, but I don't think that the full-blown economic collapse you're positing is happening anytime soon. Oh. Nice little deck you got there, dude. If you're a fan of decks, this is the place. This is the place, dude. Let me show you. Show you my decks. So we're on this deck. Right here. See this? We're on this deck, right? You come over this way. You walk down there. You're on the upper level of the yard, right? Go down those stairs. You go down these stairs. And you go down to this deck here comes off of my office. So my office is right around the left corner there. Look at this place, man. Zen. Very zen. Oof. Poor little phone.
You guys got slammed.
Yeah, you guys got slammed right on your faces. PNW. Yep. PNW, Vermont, Montana, West Virginia. It looks just like any ordinary deck. Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty... I didn't say it was the greatest deck in the world. I just said that if you're a fan of decks, you're going to like my decks. You know, I think a deck is only as good as its view. And if that's the case, I've got the greatest deck. It's like a double-decker. It is a double-decker.
Dinor's too cold and sleepy for today.
Be too chilly. Too chilly. Chilly willy gumdrops. Well, thoughts on Destiny defending healthcare execs? I don't know exactly to what extent he's defended them, but presuming, just taking it at face value, I would say that it's probably a sign that Destiny has not lived like the people that watch him for many, many years. I think Destiny's in a rich guy bubble. Why would Destiny care if the American healthcare system gets changed for the better? He already has the best of the best. He's a millionaire. He needs a medication, he gets a medication. He needs a doctor's recommendation, he gets it. Right? He pays out of his pocket and he gets the best of the best. So why would he need the healthcare system to change? Why would he care about what the average person deals with when they try and see a doctor or try and get insurance or try and get a medication approved? Why would he care? Right? He has no incentive to care because it personally would change nothing for him. You know, that's the bubble I think he's in. I think he is having a whole lot of trouble realizing why America would lionize a guy like Luigi Mangione. And I think it's just like American cultural and media illiteracy. If you are surprised that America celebrates Luigi Mangione, you haven't watched a movie in 20 fucking years. You haven't watched as Americans have slowly but surely ditched the typical hero and adopted the anti-hero. Examples of anti-heroes. Think about how many movies you've watched, if you're a movie person, or how many books you've read in the last 20 years that have a main character or protagonist that lives outside of the law, that breaks the law, that works outside of the rules. These are what we call anti-heroes. These are emotionally driven hero characters, right? And America cares about nothing more when it comes to literature, movies, music, film, video games than an anti-hero. Okay? This is just known. And the reason for that is Americans increasingly feel like the haves and the have-nots. Americans increasingly feel the pressure of a society that is tuned towards people that have money and tuned against people that don't have money. And so they latch on to these anti-heroes who reach a breaking point, go out and do vigilante shit, right? But when you've got a system where when you're a millionaire, you don't have to worry about your medications, you get anything you want, but if you're not a millionaire, you don't, people are going to be incensed at the healthcare system. People are going to support the healthcare system being struck back at. You can call it wrong, you can call it barbaric, you can call it, negative, you could call it a detriment. How you label it isn't going to change the fact. Most people, by the way, anybody that's having conversations with each other up in here needs to chill the fuck back. This is not a place for you to socialize and have side conversations. So just chill the fuck back. Now. Talk to me or don't talk. Got it? Got it. Cool. What? What do you mean, what? Are you shocked that in a chat interactive stream, I don't want two fucking morons off on their side conversation? Do you understand now? Or do you need more stern explanation? Because I can do that too. It just pisses me off. It's the only time I've come across this policy. Really? No side conversations in Paul's chat? So you must not be here very often. Yeah, I don't want you adding other people and having completely unrelated side paragraph conversations in my shit. You're such a queen, Jesus. Watch this. I'm going to banish you from the realm. And I won't even touch your bitch ass, too. I'll just have one of my fucking goons walk you out the fucking back door. How's that? See what I mean? What do you suspect is likely to be the end result of the backlash against elites? Or is it too wild to predict in any meaningful way? No, I mean, look, dude, on a long enough time scale, more violence. I don't like it. I don't think that violence is the best way to get things done. But I'm also not fucking retarded. If they continue to treat people that work like they're fucking fourth-class citizens, garbage, continue to let people die of preventable and treatable illnesses, continue to let people go months and years without the medication that they need, suffering, people are going to get more and more angry. And they're going to get even more angry when they see people like Destiny defending the medical industry, because Destiny doesn't ever have to wait for his medication. When Destiny decides he wants Vyvanse, he goes to his doctor and gets it. He doesn't have to worry about his insurance deciding not to cover Vyvanse. He doesn't have to worry about his insurance deciding, we don't cover your doctor anymore. Because he's got the top tier millionaire fucking insurance policy. He pays out his ass, doesn't affect his bottom line, and he gets whatever he wants. And he's, like from what I've seen, he's running around very confused as to why Americans are defending a murderer, right? And doesn't want to hear the reason why. The reason why is the medical industry and the healthcare industry and the drug industry have priced out American people by and large. We've created a two-tiered system of healthcare where if you've got money, you get good healthcare, and if you don't, you get fucked. And as long as that exists, you can bet your ass there's going to be Mangione copycats. You can bet your ass that people are going to continue to do that type of shit. And it's going to get worse. This is just the beginning. Mangione was the start, not the end. I just find it ironic the way he talks about the Trump shooter, then complains about normal people liking Luigi. I mean, that part of it is a little bit of a fucking optical weirdness, right? Like, it's like, he was fucking Mr. Let's celebrate the dude that tried to kill President Trump and killed one of the fucking dudes in the stands. Let's celebrate that. Let's stand on business and, yell from the rooftops about how happy you are that that fucking happened, right? Then this happened. happens. A dude kills a fucking CEO and all of a sudden you're clutching your fucking pearls. It's just like, why don't you just write your bias out on your forehead? Just wear it on your forehead. So when it happens to a poor Humpty Dumpty nobody at a Trump rally, yay! When it happens to a rich fuck like you, oh, boo! It's like, fuck you. You drop the girl's name meme one more time because I've seen it twice out of you now too. Never mind. Otello's on the case. Dude, didn't land the first time, so I'm gonna keep trying until I get that fucking negative attention. I'm gonna keep trying. Some of you motherfuckers are broken. Two wrongs don't make a right. Political violence isn't cool. I never said it did. I never said they did. I'm just explaining to you why Americans are happy that somebody killed a healthcare CEO. I'm explaining to you why. You may not like it. You may not agree with those Americans. But in terms of why a huge proportion of America supports Luigi Mangione and what he did, I'm explaining why. Because the two-tiered healthcare system, where one side gets fucked over and out, and the other side with money gets anything they need and want, isn't working. So if you want this type of sentiment to stop, we need to change the way we do things. Knee deep in lecturing the masses, I guess so, yeah. I mean, I don't know. People just act fucking like, they act like little children sometimes when it comes to shit. It's like, are you really so out of touch with the culture that you live in that you don't understand why people are fucking doing backflips over Mangione? Like, that belies to me a person that hasn't engaged with American culture in like 15, 20 years. You haven't really watched movies. You haven't really read books. Haven't really fucking paid attention to the cultural output of the country you live in for about 20 years. You're shocked that people are celebrating that somebody capped a healthcare CEO? That means that you've been living in a fucking huge bubble. You've been living in a cultural and media bubble for at least 20 years if you're shocked by that. Are we talking about smoking right now? Profile pickless fucking nobody? Are we talking about smoking right now? Is there anything that leads you to believe that the topic of conversation is smoking? If you're not on topic with your conversation, don't bother putting it in the chat. You will get smoked. Got it? Good. Profile pickless. Because it takes fucking like literally 4 seconds to pick a profile pic. So if you're not on a retarded fucking alt, like look at, for real, chill. 0 profile pic. Fucking skirting around who knows how long. Can't take 5 fucking seconds to get a profile pic. That's an alt or a bot. Don't have a profile pic, don't post. Don't have a profile pic, do not post. If you're too stupid to take 5 seconds and pick a random picture off the internet, goodbye. You got the default profile pic, you're gone. Get them all. Every last one of them. Yep, well dang. See ya. Anybody else? Wasting my fucking time with your alts. Get yourself something that I can associate with you so that you're a person in my mind and not a letter. Got it? Good. Takes literally like fucking 10 seconds. Go do it or get the fuck out. Or sit there like a good little cuck and be quiet. Shh. And listen. Those are your choices. It's okay, Otello. Don't worry about it. You're the only one on deck today, I think. Well, you and I think Hugs is in here, but yeah. My normal snipers are not around. Was Michael Jackson a legend, or were the allegations around him and kids true? Why, por qué no dos? Why not both? Did you hear about the New Year's guy that ran over and killed 10 people in New Orleans? No, but that sounds like New Orleans for you. Don't worry about it, man. Everything's fine. It seems to have cleaned itself up pretty fucking quickly and easily and simply. People tend to get the fucking... They tend to get the point pretty quick, I find. I don't like having to go into disappointed dad lecture mode, but it works. As you can see, it really works. Yeah, disappointed. Well, because I cuss too much to be a teacher. Teachers don't cuss like that. So it's disappointed dad. Disappointed dad tone of voice. Disappointed dad way of speaking, right? It just works. It's like a little it's like a little sociological trick, you know what I mean? You understand how people's brains are wired when it comes to authority. You speak a certain way, right? And you can kind of guide people in the direction you want them to be in. Actually, I knew some instructors who cuss like sailors. Well, okay, in college maybe, yeah, but high school and middle school and elementary school, you don't have sailor cussing teachers. sounds. Shivery mud. Ooh. All right. Well, here we be again. Ooh. You can't handle more wacky shit? You better just leave now, man. You better find another country, because I predict the next 4 years are going to be beyond wacky. They're going to be wild. They're going to be wild, out of pocket, insane. Yeah, if you're not a fan of wacky shit, this ain't the country for you, man. Because it's about to be zany up in this place, okay? That's a word that nobody ever uses anymore. We're about to start using it again. It's about to get zany. Did you take the legendary wooden chair when you moved? Yes, I did. It is down on the second deck. And I'm probably going to start doing streams from down there sooner rather than later. Although, I don't know. I really like this top deck, too. But yeah, no, I have the good chair. It's down there where the fire pit is at. I know. I know. It's the nature sounds, man. Paul, where did you inherit your lip or swearing habit? Do you think people swear in their language more passionate in their speech? I inherited it from a blue-collar upbringing. I was around a lot of blue-collar men and women who, like the speech pattern of blue-collar people tends to be a little bit on the salty side, you know what I mean? So I definitely picked up my propensity for swearing there. And I've heard a lot of people, you know what I mean, there's a very kind of like well-worn trope of, swearing is a small mind trying to express itself or whatever. I just think that's like a prudish point of view. I think swear words are great. I think they add a lot of spice and like flavor to conversation and to language. And I think that people that don't like it are prudish bitches. Swearing is a sign of immaturity in some people, but Paul's an exception. I don't know about that. I'm pretty immature. Like, to a certain extent, I think maturity, like what people, because like, You say maturity and people will all nod their heads, but what are you really saying when you say maturity? Well, a lot of people, if you look at the kind of scolding nature of whatever they're saying with the word maturity as a part of it, they're saying that you should fall in line. That's what maturity means. Maturity, to a certain extent and in certain conversations and contexts, definitely means, why are you different? Why don't you care about the things I care about? Why aren't you concerned with the things I'm concerned about? It's a call to conformity. I prefer somebody to say "what the fuck" than "what the frack" or some kid slang. Yeah. Yeah. Like from my perspective, like uh, maturity is something that's expressed in how a person handles the entirety of their impact, right? Not about how a person speaks, not about how a person dresses or does their hair, not about how many cuss words a person uses, right? Maturity is about what your standing is amongst your peers, right? Do you take care of your own business? Do you handle your own life? Are you independent enough to be on your own? Can you stand on your own 2 feet and hit the fucking grindstone and get through it, right? Those are the things that I, right, identify as mature. That is how I judge maturity. How much real life are you living? How much are you out here with the rest of us dealing with the bullshit? How long have you done that, right? I don't agree with it, but some people don't like to drink, smoke, or curse around children. I'm kind of one of those people. Like, I'm real careful around kids. You know what I mean? Like, I am an uncle, 12X uncle. I have 12 nieces and nephews, right? And I'm not an ogre around my nieces and nephews. I watch my mouth, I button my lip, I kind of, don't drop the curse words. I don't smoke cigarettes and blow smoke in their face, right? Like, I know how to chill in different groups of people, right? That's not what I'm talking about. Children don't know how to be respectful with their cursing. Yeah, I mean, I guess some people would probably say like respectful cursing is a misnomer, but yeah, I know what you mean. Children aren't properly selective with curse words, they just use them, right? Kids don't even play outside anymore. I mean, that's not true. Kids do play outside and shit. But yes, there's a lot more impingement on that sort of thing, like out there socializing versus kids sitting at home, on their phone, on their tablet, on their fucking console, playing video games and not really socializing at all. Kids do play outside. You know what I mean? It's not completely unheard of for their neighborhood to have a bunch of kids running around on a nice day, right? But what is kind of unprecedented is the amount of time that kids spend doing that versus sitting and staring at a device. And, I don't want to get all the way deep into it because it's one of my bugaboo kind of like conversation. I could just talk about it all day. But I do think that there are some ongoing long-term studies right now that when the results of those long-term studies come in, we are going to find that it is beyond detrimental for children to be exposed to the modern social media landscape, and these ever more fascinating and attention-grabbing devices. Supplanting actual socialization and running around outside and hanging out with your friends and like socializing with sitting on a tablet and playing Roblox is going to have a profound effect on the next generation and the next 2 generations of people. And, you know, it won't be long before some of those long-term studies start to come in and you start to hear news stories about long-term studies that says digital devices and social media profoundly detrimental to children and child development. People think kids don't play outside anymore, probably don't go outside much. Yeah, that can be a tough thing. No, I mean, I do think that they're like, I will back the people that say that kids don't go outside anymore in one way, okay? Kids 100% provably go outside less now than they did when I was a kid. I'm not trying to back in my day you, but I grew up in the 80s. In the 80s, dude, you didn't want to be inside. Like, it wasn't even a fight. Your parents weren't like chasing you out of the house with a broom in the 80s. You were begging your parents to go outside. I'm not even joking. Mom, I want to go ride my bike. Mom, I want to go skateboarding. Mom, I want to go hang out with my friends. Mom, I want to go over here. Come on, can I go? Blah, blah, blah. It was like a fight to get out versus a fight to stay in. You know what I mean? That has changed, right? Kids are less likely to go outside, ride their bike, socialize with other kids now because of these digital media outlets. In the 80s, you were waiting till you can go out. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, in the 80s, you would ask your mom, Mom, can we go outside? And she'd be like, no, you need to sit down and eat your breakfast. You need to go put on your fucking galoshes. You need to finish up your chores and blah, 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 blah. You were like begging to go outside and get on your bike. You know, that's not the case anymore. Now it's kind of like switched where it's like parents are probably like, a lot of parents are probably begging their kids, like, get out, like, go outside or something. In the 90s, they said the same thing about video game consoles. Well, let's unpack that a little bit because I'll take you back even 1 decade more. In the 80s, they started using a terminology in the 70s and the 80s. TV rots your brains. You ever heard that? You watch too much of that TV, it'll rot your brains. And so the cool thing about it is that TV is pretty ubiquitous in the United States for 50 years or so, at least, right? So there are a lot of long-term studies that started in the 70s and 80s, that came out in the 90s and early 2000s, that tracked people that spent a profound amount of time sitting in front of the TV. And you know what they found? This is going to blow your minds. This is going to blow your minds. Do you know what all of those studies found? TV rots your fucking brains. The people that they tracked that spent 12 hours a day in front of the fucking drool box couldn't read, couldn't think, had social problems, were less likely to be successful, had a whole litany of mental problems overrepresented, from autism to depression. And I'm not making this up. You can go and find these long-term studies. Now I want you to extrapolate. Now that the TV isn't just something with 3 channels on it, now that it conforms to your desires and you interact with it, what do you think those next long-term studies are going to say? You got any ideas? You got any ideas what that next batch of long-term studies is going to say about the effect of tablets, phones, social media on children, on the developing mind? TV rots your brains. Kids that spent their whole lives sitting slack-jawed in front of the TV were profoundly behind other kids. Now that the TV is something that you're like, way more fascinating than it ever was, way more portable. How many, let me ask you guys a question. Everybody in here, you go out and eat at a sit-down restaurant now and again, right? You ever look around and see a family at a table at a restaurant and every last one of them, the kids included, are like, they're sitting there, they've got their food, and everybody at the table is like this? You think the fact that that experience is ubiquitous is going to portend really, really huge consequences when these long-term studies start to hit? Nobody talks about this shit, bro, because nobody wants to admit that they're probably affected by it. Nobody wants to admit it has to be everybody else is stunted, but I'm okay. No, you're probably stunted too, bro. You grew up with your face in a fucking phone, you're probably stunted as fuck. You're probably socially retarded, probably not great at making friends or having relationships with people because you never learned. My girl and I just talk at a restaurant. Yeah, my wife and I, we go out. It's not like we never, like, we might pull up our phone to look something up, but the phones just go away. Like, we sit, we eat together. We don't have to jabberjaw the whole time and just eat together. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that one, I'm just using that as an anecdotal example, right? As you speak to your phone, bro. Wow. We got ourselves a philosopher king up in here. Argument defeated. Unbelievable, bro. It's always the people with the most followers who can't even hold a conversation. I don't know. I don't know what that has to do with the price of rice in China. Grew up in a country, no internet, no phones. Okay, well, I'm not saying that that's necessarily where we need to go with it, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I kind of grew up in the country too. I don't miss shooting the flies at all. I'll be super, like, I suspect in the summertime when temperatures, and by the way, the summers are going to be like fucking paradise here, but that's notwithstanding. I live by the fucking ocean, so I get the best of both worlds, man. But I have a feeling in the summertime some flies might come and the salt gun will ride again. But right now in the winter, bro, I haven't even seen an insect out here. And that's something I noticed when I lived in an area like this before. Was like the profound lack of bugs. Are you renting or buying? I'm renting. I'm renting, but I'm on the market to buy. I'm just kind of like waiting for the market to stabilize and equalize a little bit. But yeah, I'm on the market to purchase a house. But I'm going to be very picky and selective about that. So, but right now I'm renting. And this rental property is the result of a long search for a property like this. Waiting for the market to stabilize. Well, I mean, correct itself. Do you think like the real estate market is just infinite growth now forever? I doubt it. Do you know it's not a paradox, bro. It's not a paradox that we're talking about the detrimental nature of growing up doing nothing but looking at phones, and we're using that same technology, right? I never exempted myself from any of this. I probably was well served by being raised in the 80s prior to smartphones even being a twinkle in anybody's eye, right? Like, I probably benefited from that. But I spend a lot of time on my fucking phone. I spend a lot of time doing social media, doom scrolling Reddit, playing video. You know, I'm not trying to exempt myself from this, right? I'm just saying that if you take it out of the context of me being a 44 or almost 45-year-old man who can do what the fuck he wants with his free time, and a kid, it's kind of different, dude. My brain development has stopped. A child's brain development is ongoing, right? And so having that dopamine hit that just wears your brain out while you're a child is, I think, going to be it's profoundly detrimental to children. There's a castle in France that costs about the same as a 2-bedroom in Toronto. Shit has gotten insane. I mean, yeah. It's gotten wild. Shit is wild, guys. Shit be wild. All right. I gotta go. I will see you guys some other time.